Hey everyone. Yeah, I kind of thought I'd take this time and kind of talk about the reaction that everybody's been talking about lately from former cast members slash alumni to the people behind the series here in the U.S. to the man that basically put this together. And that is the reaction of the Power Rangers fan film that was released this past week. Um, As you probably know by now, YouTube and Vimo, and I think even Daily Motion have all taken the fan film down due to the request and I guess threat of legal action by Saban. And the man that put this together, you can find him on Facebook, as well as you can find the fan film on Facebook on his page. Has done fan films before. Some have been shorter than this one, some have been longer, some have been dark and funny, some have been dark, dramatic, and violent. This one is basically dark, dramatic, and violent. Uh, Now, basically, what this is, let's be honest. I think Andre of Black Nerd Comedy said it best. This is a satire. End of story. It's a satire. Basically, and basically what that means is the director of this fan film is satirizing. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Uh, satirizing, basically is spoofing, if you will, parodying what a lot of fans would hope would be sort of the direction that Lionsgate goes in with the new Power Rangers movie coming out next year. He's basically satirizing what could be. There, I pronounced it correctly. But satirizing what could be. But he's doing it on more of an adult level. More on a level that the director knows that Lionsgate may not go in the direction he did. Probably won't at all. But it'll be darker and a little grittier, but not like on the level he did. But it'll be more along the lines of something that you see nowadays, with like let's say Avengers or the new TMNT or something like that. It'll be along those levels, but not like what he did. And apparently, like I said, out of all the fan films people have done before, including this guy, this is the one that gets the most attention, and there's a reason. And like I said, Andre pointed this out very well. Uh, Basically because of the fact that Power Rangers is looked at as a kids show. It's not looked at as an adult show. It's not looked at as a tween show or a teenage show. It is a kids show. So for this director to come out and say he's satirizing the potential of what a dark and gritty Power Rangers could be, it really kind of got under Saban's um, really got under their noses. Basically got Saban's blood boiling to the point that they, like I said at the beginning, they basically threatened legal action on YouTube, Google, Daily Motion, Blimp, Vimo, whoever would carry the film. They threatened legal action on them. And I will say this will sound crazy, but I don't blame YouTube or any of the other video sites for taking this down. I mean, if I'm running a multi-million-dollar online video site, which um, which I am planning to give an optional subscriber ad-free uh, program to the users, or monthly payment to the users. Um, yeah, I don't want to risk losing that opportunity of doing that. I don't want to risk losing millions and millions of dollars and basically causing my site to probably go down in the future. I don't blame, like I said, the people at Google and the YouTube team there. I don't blame people at Daily Motion, Vimo, Blimp, MetaCafe, whoever tried to carry it. I don't blame them for doing this. I don't blame them at all because you're basically going up against a company in Saban that even though they might not be as big as, let's say, Disney, if they have someone like Nickelodeon and Lionsgate backing them up, then yeah, they pretty much have a lot of stroke, especially when it comes to shows like Power Rangers. Now, I know some of you might say, well, what if this guy would have done the Power Ranger fan film in the vein of, let's say, Eddie LeBron did the Sonic fan film? Would they have a problem then? Well, that's kind of up for debate. I don't know whether or not they would have a problem. I think mostly the fact that Sega, the reason Sega didn't have a problem with Eddie LeBron's film, and the fact that even one of the founding fathers of Sonic liked the fan film, was because it stayed true to Sonic. It's who Sonic was. Uh, so again, I can't really answer the question. I don't think anybody could answer the question of whether or not Saban would act differently if this fan film was in that same kind of vein where it stayed true to the Power Rangers, but you knew it was a fan film. But like I said, I think it's more along the lines that Saban just Chaim Saban didn't like the fact that what this guy was doing was saying, "Hey, I'm making your Power Rangers into an R-rated product." he didn't like it. He didn't like the fact that you were taking essentially a kids program franchise and turning it on its head, giving it a complete 360, 180, if you will, and basically, I mean, this is the way I think Saban looked at it. I think they looked at it, especially Hiram Saban, looked at it like a slap in the face. Basically, it's like a slap in the face. That's all it was to him. A slap in the face to him, slap in the face to the Power Ranger franchise, and even a slap in the face to the Power Ranger fans. I think that's the way he looked at it, and that's why he wanted the fan film taken down. You know, and maybe one could argue he didn't want the newer fans to get confused as to what really is Power Rangers. Especially fans that may be getting into Power Rangers and may be interested in going to see the reboot movie next year. So I think that might have been, maybe what he was worried about. Maybe he doesn't want them to have the idea of, oh, this is what we'll probably get with the movie. But there was several things that Black Nerd Comedy Andre said that I think rings true. You take a look at something like, let's say, Ninja Turtles right here. Okay, you take a look at Ninja Turtles, and you kind of say to yourself, here's a franchise that has many diversities to it. It differs in many different categories. The live action movie in the 1990 to about 93 was a diversion, was based, well, not a diversion, but was different. It basically diverts itself from what people recognized, kids recognized, the late 80s to mid 90s cartoon series to be like. It deferred itself away from that into something different, staying true to the comics, but a little bit of that cartoon influence to them. So Turtles is a good example, and Andre, he basically said the truth. He said, look, maybe that's what they need to do with Power Rangers. Maybe that's what Saban, sorry about that, what Saban needs to do is try to do, go after all these different categories of fans. Because you have fans like me that grew up on Power Rangers. I actually started watching Power Rangers when it came out, but of course I watched Sonic more often. But when Sonic would go into reruns, or there was no more Sonic, or there was no Sonic on the weekdays, except for adventures, I would watch Power Rangers, and I got a kick out of it. I like Power Rangers. Heck, I went to go see the damn movie in theaters. The first movie. I saw it in theaters. So I like Power Rangers. I'm still a fan of Power Rangers. Just not much of a fan of the newer incarnations. Dino Charge might be okay. Dino Thunder I thought was good. Dino Charge I'm not really sure. And some of the others in between I was like, we'll see what happens. But from Mighty Morphin to Zeo to Turbo, and I think even In Space was some of the best years and incarnations of Power Rangers they had. But not saying that Time Force and Lost Galaxy and Lightspeed weren't good. They were okay, especially when they did crossovers. But I'm talking more along the lines of straightforward because from Mighty Morphin to the end of In Space, it was just all one big continuity, one big story arc. And that was good. That's what made it stand out. That's what made people like it. So again, one could look at this and maybe think maybe Saban just didn't want, you know, people to think differently about Power Rangers. But again, as I was getting back on track here, I think this is what Andre's trying to say. He's trying to say, look, you have these different core groups of fans. You got the new younger fans that are growing up with it right now, and courtesy of Nickelodeon. You got those fans that kind of came in between, uh, the show's run, in between the 20 plus years of the show's run, and now you also have this core group of fans that grew up with the show from the very beginning. You basically have fans that, let's say, may have been 4 or 5 years old when the show started, are now 25, 20, 24, 25 years old, have families of their own, kids of their own, who are probably watching and enjoying Power Rangers, and it makes them feel good because they grew up on it. But now they see Power Rangers as a nostalgic factor, and they probably look at something like what this director did and probably say, hey, this is a unique take. Maybe this is what they should do with Power Rangers, especially from a grown-up aspect, an adult aspect. Give us a more adult version at times. Yeah, you can keep a kiddified version, but give us an adult version. You know, you take a look at what Marvel's doing and DC's doing, and there's been a lot of shows, animated or live action, with their heroes that have been targeted towards kids. But nowadays, you're getting those same kind of shows or same kind of characters, but in different, more adult-oriented shows, if not movies. And I think that's what fans are trying to say. They're trying to say, look, like I said, the fans who grew up on it, they're like saying, hey, look, we've been with this show for 20 years. Give us something that's more adult-oriented that we can sink our teeth into. And I think that's why you have some fans, maybe a bigger majority than some people want to give credit for, that actually like this fan film. Now, true, there are going to be some fans, long time, in between, or new, that won't like the fan film. There'll be original cast members and alumni from the show or the franchise that will like or not like the fan film. And that's okay, that's their opinion. But to me, this is basically what it's being looked at as by a lot of people, a fan film. And it's not doing any harm. In my opinion, it doesn't really do any harm. In actuality, it's just spoofing and satirizing what some fans, longtime fans as a matter of fact, and even those fans in between, could picture a dark and gritty Power Ranger movie being like, should that dark and grittiness be exactly the direction that Lionsgate is planning to go with next year, which it sounds like they are. But this is more of a spoof. This is more of a spoof, more of a satirizing. That's all it is. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. You take a look at the Sonic fan film, and some could say, well, it's not much of a. Some could say, well, that's a bit of a spoof. That's a bit of a satirizing of Sonic. And yeah, it is. But you know what? It's spoofing and satirizing what fans would hope a Sonic movie would be like. And heck, look now. Sony's actually going to go forward and do just that. You take a look at Angry Video Game Nerd. When James did his movie, even though it had a decent story arc and all that, even though it had a decent story arc and everything, his movie at times was a satirizing and spoofing of other B movies, from the B monster movies, sci-fi movies from the past. He was satirizing and spoofing how goofy the effects were. He was satirizing and spoofing how sometimes hokey the acting was. But that's what made his movie so good. Because fans knew that and they enjoyed it. In a sense, it was an actual film, but it was an actual major fan film. True, people won't look at it as a fan film, but that's what it was. But it was just an actual movie funded by fans, made by fans, for the fans, in a sense, the ultimate fan film, even though you take fan out of that equation, and it's just a film, if you will. But again, getting back on topic, I really don't see anything wrong with this fan film. I mean, yes, like I said earlier, I do agree with what YouTube, Blimp, Dailymotion, Metacafe, Viemo did. From a legal aspect, do I want to end up losing to Saban and the people that back them up, like Lionsgate and Nickelodeon and all that? Do I want to lose to them because I allowed somebody that's been a member of my site, my video uploading site, so since maybe almost the beginning, to upload something that basically spoofs and satires a kids show, a kids franchise? No, I wouldn't want to chance it. But in the end, I don't think there's really anything wrong with the fan film. It's a fan film. That's what it is. And yes, it's one of those major league fan films where you actually got some decent actors and actresses that are well known. But still the point is, I just don't see anything really wrong with it. It's satires. It's a satire. It's a spoof. And it's basically kind of acknowledging that maybe this is what fans are looking forward to, but are not going to get it. I think that's what it's satirizing, and you can't blame the guy. I mean, look, he does the Punisher fan film Dirty Laundry. What does that tell you? I mean, I can only imagine if this guy got his hands on a Sonic fan film and did a Sonic fan film of his own and went in the direction of saying, okay, at the end, I'm going to turn Sonic into Sonic dot ex the dot exe Sonic. That would be a slap in the face of Sonic fans, but guess what? It would be a spoof as to how fans want to look at Sonic sometimes. Again, getting back on track. Yeah, there's gonna be the reaction is a mixed bag. It's 50-50 in a sense. You got 50% people liking it, you got 50% people not liking it. And that's their opinions, they got the right to that. But the thing is, they should overall look at it like this. It's a fan film. It's made by a fan for fans. It's not to be taken seriously because most times, that's what fan films are not meant to do. Not to be taken seriously because they're satirizing and spoofing what fans want to see. And hopefully maybe some of that would get carried over into an actual movie should it happen. But that's basically what this guy is doing with the Power Ranger fan film he did. He's satirizing and spoofing what fans are hoping and thinking they would get next year with Lionsgate. But again, that's just my opinion. Overall, though, in closing, I will say this: I see nothing wrong with a fan film like this. I think it's good. I watched it on his Facebook page. I liked it. I got a kick out of it. Thought it was fun. I thought it was unique. Sometimes funny. Yeah, it was violent. It was violent, bloody, and all that. Language-wise, yeah, I get all that. But the thing is, it was for fun. It was a spoof. It was a satire of basically what fans are hoping they'll get somewhat in a way next year. But like I said at the beginning, I do agree with YouTube and all the other sites, other video sites that I've mentioned. If I've got legal action against me threatening to sue me, threatening to probably remove my channel, my website from existence, all because of what happened here, then yeah, I'm gonna make the smart move. And even though it basically goes against everything we're about, which is freedom of speech and all that, yeah, I'm gonna have to reluctantly take the video down and say, look, and probably issue him an apology, like I think they did. They probably private messaged him and said, look, we have nothing against the fan film, but here's what's going on, and that's why they did it to him. But overall, there's nothing really wrong with it. It is violent. It is dark. It is, twisted in somewhat somewhat of a unique way. But if someone's willing to go out of his way and put on the kind of production he did with this fan film, get the actor and actress that he did for the role of Rocky and Kimberly, then as well as Tommy, then I don't really see anything wrong with it. I really, really don't. So I think the one thing he could have taken out, I will be honest, is the Trini funeral scene, because I think that could have been out of bad taste. But still, you do have to acknowledge that one of the original cast did die, but not in that manner. So, like I said, that's all I'm gonna say on it. Again, I really don't have nothing against it. Like I said, maybe the Trini scene should have been taken out, but hey, no one's really said anything negative about that part of it, then that's fine. I can understand why he did it. But still, again, like I said, in the end, it's a fan film. It's for satire. It's a spoof. That's what fan films a majority of the time are. That's what sometimes fan fiction is sometimes, depending on who writes it. It's a satire. It's a spoof of what we as fans would like to see or hope to see in the future. So, that's all I'm going to say on it, folks. Let me know what you think down below, and I will talk to y'all later.